Okay. We often talk about the different types of service learning: direct, indirect, advocacy, and research. And given the time in history that we are right now, where COVID is impacting our lives so much, what advice do you have for schools where they're saying, well, we really don't have opportunities for direct service learning now because of the risk of infection? So what advice do you have for people as they think about types of service?
Wow. That's the question of the day, isn't it? You know, what do we do in this moment? I think we have to be creative and we have to be adaptive. So while the three of us are not in the same country even, we are making some direct contact. So even with COVID, we can have some direct contact through technology. So that could mean an older student in a school reading a book to a younger student, you know, making that kind of contact,
Yeah.
making a phone call to someone who we know lives alone, just to spend a little time or maybe play a game on the phone for a few minutes. So there are ways we can make direct contact with people that are just a little different. And when I think of direct contact, I think of three things: direct contact with people, with animals, and the environment. So all those can be done in some ways or shape. And again, we have to be more flexible with it. I'm thinking about how just when the beginning of COVID, I was helping some folks in New York City construct some ideas. And that's when a lot of people were looking at mask making because there were just such a shortage of masks. So the students were loving making masks, but they were thinking, how do we distribute them? So one person said, let's make a balloon, put a mask on a balloon and put them outside with a little bag of, here's some bags and masks people can take just walking by. So the balloon was such a kid idea and such a friendly way to distribute it. That's another way to do something indirect, but you know, making contact with people in friendly and thoughtful ways. We just need to be creative. And
that's lovely. We have a lovely blog article from the Tracker Apps blog it was published about a month ago from BEPS in Brussels, and it's a beautiful example of how in their French language and literature class the students wrote letters to old folks in a nearby home, and really made their day, because they were feeling isolated a lot, but even more so at this time. And having those letters backwards and forwards in French with the students really had a massive impact, and it's an ongoing and sustainable relationship.
so these are things we have to look at. What we're still doing is the primary issue, whether you're doing direct service, indirect advocacy or research, or a combination, we're still doing the critical part of finding the authentic need.
Yeah.
So the youth found that there were some people who were living in a senior center or some residents, and they feel isolated and disconnected. They're saying, what can we do to connect with them? So the need is always underneath whatever kind of issue you find. And the good thing is that we don't have to figure these things out alone. We need to figure out some of these solutions in collaboration with others, whether it's our family to help us think it through, other youth, our teachers. So we can do this in collaboration, because one person could get stuck on, oh my gosh, I'm isolated. But other people say, but what about this? What about that? I've gotten so many good ideas just from these kinds of conversations. You know, one of the things for advocacy I've seen is, we were talking earlier that voting is a big issue in the United States right now, and in any country where they're having elections. And in places that are urban, you can put signs on your window with, you know, vote. Here's, you know, you can do things to promote the issue, to make it just more visible. There's things we can do to bring liveliness to people's life, joy, and to also keep moving the clock forward in terms of making a difference.
Mm-hmm. Cathy,
thank you. That's clear.
You've talked about reaching out and connecting with other people just to help get ideas. And I think that that's so crucial. So we have, there's a lot of Facebook groups where teachers, particularly service coordinators, are connecting to share ideas and to share strategies. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about Documentar, which is your, where youth are connecting and sharing their experiences?
Our consulting team, we have 8 people in our team right now. We're thinking last spring that the narrative being broadcast in the different mediums, especially news mediums, was all from adults about what was happening. And there was no voice for youth to share what was going on for them. So we constructed a platform, an initiative we call Documentar. And you can find us on Instagram at Documentar_, and on Facebook and Twitter on Documentar Now. We started inviting young people to share what was going on for them. And they choose whatever medium they would like. We have visual arts, we have spoken word, we have photographs, we have things made out of wood, we have all kinds of mediums that young people have chosen to express initially what was going on for them around the COVID pandemic. But as life kept evolving and issues of social justice and racism came to the forefront, we found youth wanted to express their concerns about that topic, about the environment. So it's very much an open platform for young people to express what's on their hearts and on their minds. And it's a very easy submission process. We're finding that teachers of all different subjects are weaving this into their classrooms. We have science teachers, we have art teachers, we have drama, music, English teachers are finding this is a vehicle to help young people express themselves. You know, if you go up to a young person and say, how are you doing? Very often they'll just say fine. But that doesn't mean that any of us are really fine right now. There's just so many layers of our experience that are making this challenging. So to have a place that you can really express yourself, share what's on your heart, your mind, what you care about, what's keeping you up at night, what you need answered, or what you're doing. It's also a platform to share what action people are taking. And so that's another way that young people can share, we're doing this, because we really want to take a stand. So I hope you'll look at Documentar, and we have some free materials we can give out on how to lead it with your students, but it doesn't take much to just open a safe portal for youth to really express themselves. And we're really glad to be a vehicle for that. Thank you for asking. Documentar is something I care about so much. Every time I get a submission, it's just joyous for me. And it's also like a little meditation as I just sit with this visual this young person has created. And I just want to share one other point. A colleague of mine in Ghana let me know about 2 days ago that they've been doing Documentar with their students at the Tima International School. And a parent contacted them that just culturally, she said, we don't really listen that much to how young people are feeling or what's going on for them. And she really had not paid attention to what her children were going through right now. And Documentar opened her eyes to what was really happening for her own children and for other youth, and brought a different kind of conversation into their family. So she was extremely grateful for that opportunity. That meant a lot to me to hear that.
That's amazing. It's a wonderful thing. I hope everyone does take a look for Documentar. And again, Tima is one of those great IB schools. Wonderful. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kathy.